Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearthstone for Kaiserreich Shanxi. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So the Gaomijun currently are now in charge of the country, or I guess in charge of the province, right? Like, we're not really an independent country, so to speak. We're like a warlord. I guess we're not a warlord. We're like a whole organization. Either way, we're currently in charge. We got land reform nears completion. Endemic poverty and inequality that has plagued Shanxi's rural regions has finally given way to radical change. With the peasants long stooping at the chronic abuses of the rural elite and the Shanxi government tiring of the, I actually don't know what that word is, of the gentry, Shanxi leadership is opted to pursue the, potentially delayed promises of land reform. Rather than to seek a measured series of reforms, they're calling prior failed efforts being watered down or sabotaged by the rural wealthy. Instead, Taiyuan has opted to attempt to shatter the gentry's grip altogether. This has meant considerable attribution of lands, sometimes at gunpoint, and targeting of unfair rents. Tensions have fired up in the countryside, with rural landowners hiring militias and appealing to the central government for support, but they cannot stop the right of radicalism by the peasants, who have hopped on the chance to change their status, or at least exact some measure of revenge. Damage has been done, not just to the infrastructure of Shanxi, which can be repaired, but also to the balance of power in Shanxi. And many questions remain about whether or not the government can control the maelstrom they have released, or whether or not the movement will last for long before it is quashed. Get some land reform. So you're finished now. I'm honestly not too sure what we do at this point, but that's done. Do I even need you? Because all you do is remove 75 days from this. But now that's over, so I'm not too really sure what your play here is. Also, you have some research slots. Go 36 rifle. I think that just makes sense. Makes it a factory, okay. So right now we're 2, 0, and 5. Let's go 1 military in Taiyuan. It's really, we can only build 1 factory, so this works out just fine. Let's destroy the remnants of feudalism. Sounds good to me. So are we now in a coalition? Yes, with the radical socialists, the social democrats, the social liberals, social conservatives, and the authoritarian democrats. It really is just a hodgepodge of different ideologies here. But not the market liberals, right? No. Because they're just a commercial interest. Whatever the hell that means. The political department. After Feng joined the Kuomintang, he established a political department with the aid of the Kuomintang and socialist advisors. Initially led by Liu Bocheng, who has since left the province, Feng kept a socialist-dominated institution under a relatively tight leash. The department was rendered largely defunct with Feng's renouncement of the Kuomintang membership at the end of the Northern Expedition. Now, however, Feng soon locked into battle for control over northern China, it becomes necessary for him to harness all his allies that he can across the revolutionary spectrum. Feng has once again reactivated the department, filling it with crucial allies and encouraging its zeal. The political department is once again establishing officers in each army, division, and brigade, and deploying political officers from regiments down to platoons. On platoon level, political cells are being organized. In practice, the implementation of this is hampered, as it did in 1927, by a lack of ideological trained personnel, inconsistent expectations for staff, and roles. Some interpreted this move as creating political officers, while others see the department as a propaganda arm. The ambiguity, however, does not diminish the rising radicalism of the Kuomintang and the preparations for a national revolution. So I'm assuming at some point we will be aligning ourselves with the KMT. Song Xingling has now taken over. We also got a 3-way civil war. Also, that is Floyd Olson's middle name, Bjornstern. Okay, that's fine. Also, it is, I don't know, Song Xingling. She used to be the leader of the Social Democrats. But I guess Song Xingling and Wei Jinwei are now both just in charge of the radical socialists, which I think makes sense. Because Song Xingling originally was the social democratic leader, who was international aligned, which was like its whole different ideology. There were certain social democratic groups in Kaiserreich that were international aligned. Like there was like a certain peg for it. But I think they removed that a few updates ago, so I think this makes more sense. But anyways, the other Republicans. Not every Republican in Shanxi is a socialist radical or a member of the Kuomintang. Although censorship is pervasive in Taiyuan, privately intellectuals of all stripes regularly gossip and discuss China's future. Although not quite as refined as in Europe or alongside China's coast, nationalism is an idea that has preeminent in the province for decades, taking form in various shapes, both revolutionary and conservative. Many socialists and faulty facility-read newspapers and public institutions in Beijing, familiarizing themselves with the politics of the capital, rural reconstruction ideas of Liang Shiming and the YC, men's NCERA floats around some circles, while some find sympathy in the Prosperity League's progressive explanations funded by the AOG. Quite a few take inspiration from the South, with the federalist ideas of Chen Xiaoming and democratic ideas of Zhang Xiaoming being quite popular as well. The activists aligned with the GMJ have worked to make inroads with Republican groups in Shanxi, hoping to secure broad base support. Many moderates, however, are reluctant to work with the populace and revolutionary army, even with the possibility of toppling Yan Xingshang's regime. For most of the middle or upper classes, the stability of the governor has brought outweighs the political oppression. Democracy in Shanxi, much less China as a whole, remains a very distant possibility. But that has not stopped many from dreaming. Okay. So, what do we do with you? I mean, Beijing right now we're at 0% support for. And unfair rent. Genuinely, I don't know what you actually do at this point. Do I take early mobilization? Wait, we lost one of our advisors. What the hell? I don't actually know who we lost. Research speed, parks efficiency growth. I mean, you know what? 10% more stability, and we actually are a fairly small Chinese province. So, you know, actually getting a manpower boost is not the worst thing in the world. Especially since we are taking a negative 35% penalty due to Bo Yibo. This should work out pretty okay. Okay, Hawaii is joining International, not a big deal for us. We get 10% more stability, more war support, and even more war support, as well as getting one military factory. And the fact that we only have 2, that would be a 50% increase. Which does seem pretty good, but I think we'll focus on finishing our land reform first, and then we'll increase our military power by 50%. How many guns do we have? Right at 1.6k, but we still can't train units. Not yet, at least. Is it one of these? Is it you? Yes, we have dual armies at the moment, which doesn't give us a +7 division limit. I mean, that's nice, right? People's Theater. In his opening night at theater patronized by Fang Yusheng and the Gubanzhong, Fang sits and talks to officers with gaining anticipation as they wait for the play to begin. Production has begun after news came the brutal violence against anti-concessionist protests in Nanjing, a testament to the cruel oppression European and Japanese powers have placed the Chinese nation under. Fang himself is said to have contributed money, and seats are bursting with officers and soldiers waiting for the curtains to be raised. The author, a longtime KMG officer, enters the stage wearing his finest dress uniform. Despite his nervousness, few notice as he speaks in a humble but crisp voice, thanking the artist for coming. He explains that the play is a representation of the 1936 massacre of anti-concessionist protests at Wuhu and other cities in the League. And now Fang asked him and his soldiers to perform. He apologized in advance for the literary quality, as he's not a writer by trade but a patriot. But he hopes through his work to inspire the patriotic spirits of his comrades, and closes his remarks with a loud voice to roaring applause. Foreigners are shooting our brothers and plundering our country. How can anyone think we are not to arm ourselves? Okay, well, we're not gonna go through the entirety of the play. I think that might be going a little too far here. Do I click this button just to get rid of this pop-up? I'm gonna say no for right now. I think right now we're okay. I would like more army experience, so I guess we can have you guys train. How many points did that get us? 0.5, so that is every 20 days we get 1 point. And also, some of you will get more experience. That's nice. But really not like too many of you. But I don't think that's worth the effort. Also, you are a veteran. You know, good for you. Good for you. We did see that Switzerland has joined the Reichspakt. Doesn't actually happen too often. But Switzerland in the Reichspakt is pretty powerful. It gives them a much larger front line against the Commune of France. Will probably prove useful in the war to come. Not that, of course, we care too much. about what happens in Europe. It really shouldn't affect us in any meaningful way. Except, I guess, for the legation cities, which might come up in the future. Okay, got wars breaking out over here. Technology research, we go for the radio. We'd love a good old-fashioned radio. We are still at negative 23%, but that's fine. That's okay. And our stability is still absolutely fucking terrible. Research people's 5%. Even more recruit population actually wouldn't be so bad. You're independent, and you are just aligned with the game, GMJ. Do I need even more manpower than that, though? I'm honestly going to say no. I don't think so. Oh, that's why you got, Okay, never mind. We didn't lose a leader. We had you, but then you just became the head of government, or second in command, I should say. So actually, this works out just fine. I'm gonna go with Zhao Pilan. Change autocracy, social liberalism goes up. Onwards, and the local councils have been empowered. Harnessing the will of the people is vital for the future of Shanxi. While it would be a mistake to call Shanxi democracy, there's little doubt that Shanxi has made great strides in implementing a village-based peasant democracy in recent weeks. This is the culmination of a decades-long process, which began with Yang Zhisheng's efforts to creating the so-called government that makes use of the people. Ordering that each village elect a headsman directly from the people, and each village has a legislative assembly. However, these initiatives, allegedly modeled after self-government created in the Zhao dynasty, were not particularly effective, in part because Yan sought to keep them as a rubber stamping committee, often approving spending that occurred the year prior. But also because many of the people serving were too preoccupied gambling and drinking. The Yao Zhisheng clique has kept most of these councils, perhaps likely on a tight leash, with magistrates frequently choosing headsmen in practice. This has been changed, however, due to the recent shifts of political atmosphere and renewed determination. The rural training institutes, originally established by Fang and the GMJ, have worked hard to train local villages in political literacy and to create village leadership not only made up of peasants, but also well run for the sake of the peasants. There's plenty left to do, but inspiration spirit has filled the air. Who's the most popular party right now? It's still us at 34%. With the Student Association in second place of the Social Liberals. But I mean, they shouldn't really overtake us. Party popularity, the coalition. I mean, we're doing pretty well in political power. Plus 1.22. Very, very nice. We got more decisions available. Sell Shanxi cotton. The thing, I think most of these are only for 100 days. Which... I mean, isn't like that great. Beijing's influence will shrink. Okay. Nationalist and regionalist identities. The state of nationalism in a nation divided by decades of warlordism is complicated. Few dare to question the idea that there is a single Chinese nation, but nationalism as an intellectual concept is relatively new, especially in relatively isolated regions such as Shanxi. There is an unfortunate tendency in Taiyuan to slander every supporter of the central government as being in the pocket of corporate interest or bowing to the boot of corrupt dictatorship. This perception is reinforced by a lethargic state of the Harshmini Association's regional branch, the most charitable interpretation being that the routine harassment of provincial authorities forces them to keep their activities discreet. However, there are plenty who align with Beijing for the reasons. For many nationalistic intellectuals, the Chinese unity is paramount to other concerns, and regionalism is to be condemned. Shanxi's government, for the most part, has regularly utilized nationalism to their ends. Fang Yusheng's GMJ is named after the concept, and promotes a nationalistic populist version that condemns foreign imperialism and seeks to reverse the century of humiliation. Yan has also utilized nationalism for his ends, decrying imperialism and exhorting China to maintain military readiness against foreign invasion. Shrines honoring Guanxi and Yufei dot the countryside, and patriotism is lionized by Shanxi's authorities. On the other hand, however, Shanxi's jealousy guards its privileges. Distrust of the central government is rampant among the provincial's leadership, with most attempting to assert national unity by undermining the fears of central government overreach. Regionalism to many villagers does not mean succession or even to be seen contradictory to Chinese identity. While many dislike Governor Yan, they're similarly steadfast against outside replacement. After all, he is one of them, a local son. I will say that Governor Yan probably is not a big player at the moment. Then Shanxi is now against a place in the world that people must come to the conclusion as to what they value more. So, I mean, war support is just better than political power. I mean, we get 30 political power in like 2.5 weeks. We will march to save China. 7.5% war support. I mean, it doesn't do too much for us right now. I mean, I guess it affects our stability wall at war modifier, but I mean, that's not super important. But again, will we be fighting a defensive war or will we be fighting an offensive war? I think it's still too early to tell. I mean, you don't like us right now because we have a different ideology, and they claim our territory. We got Chen Xiaoming in the south. We got the National Revolutionary Government in the east. And I think those are all the factions claiming to be... Well, we basically have 4 central governments right now. We got the Federalists, we got the KMT, we got the Qing, we got the Fetian government. All 4 of them are claiming to be the legitimate government of China. And which one will you align ourselves with? Probably either the either the KMT or with the Federalist. Okay, so we funded the propaganda department. Let's go with our singular military factory, 35 days. We love to see it. And I guess now we'll go with early mobilization. We can maybe use like one more. You know what? 4 factories? That's a, that's a quite nice ratio. I am more than happy to see that. So I'm not going to worry. Honestly, I'm not going to worry anything about the Qing. Fuck the Qing. Get them out of here. Okay, we get 10,000 manpower. Sending a long way to break through in an effort to win hearts and minds. Feng and his army have pulled every connection, pushed every agropop, anything to sway the last defense sitters in the aggressive public relations campaign. Okay, fantastic. Give me the manpower, a handful of guns. Still can't train any units yet. But that's okay. We don't need to train units right away. We can give it, a few weeks, a few months, whatever is needed. Whatever is needed for us to build a large army. I don't think... I mean, as nice as it would be for us to try to claim the mantle of being... we also need more than 10 factories, which we don't have. And of course, we don't have enough manpower in the field, and we don't have enough. And we don't have more units in the Qing and the Fenian government combined. You are what? 16 to 56 divisions, 8 to 39. They've got a lot of potential, for sure, and that scares me. 37 will go concentrated industry. We'll replace our rifles. Thank you. We're not going to update the rifles we already have in the field. I think that's just going to take too long. Because again, we only have like 2 military factories. Oh no, we got you done. So we should have 3. We should have 3 military factories now. A incredible boost to our production. Give me more guns. We do also have 231 artillery, which actually is pretty nice. We can't edit any of our units to actually throw them in here. At least not quite yet. Oath sworn. The goals of the GMJ are, by using the principles of Dr. Sun Yat-sen, to arouse the masses, to expedite the traitorous warlords, to overthrow imperialism, and to seek freedom and independence for China. We will also ally ourselves to the common struggle of those people of the world who treat us with equality. We will live and die together and never stop until we reach these goals. We swear it. On September 17, 1926, in the town of Wuhan, Shaiyun, Feng Yusheng stood before his men and delivered this oath. The situation was not kind to him at the time. The GMJ troops had been pushed out of Beijing earlier that year by a resurgent elite force. But as the KMT began their northern expedition, Feng Yusheng saw a chance, and on that day swore his men over to the cause of Sun Yat-sen. Many years have passed, but while delivering a speech today before the gathered GMG remnants, Feng could not help but reference it once again. He assured the crowd that he has not forgotten this oath, nor will the GMG ever forget. Tyranny that grips China will be shattered, and the nation rebuilt for the people. After he finished, much like in 1926, the crowd roared with cheers of damn with foreign powers, root out the warlords. A cry is so resounding that it took several minutes to quiet down. Dr. Sun's successors have long proven themselves untrustworthy, but the man's principles continue to stand. People of Shanxi, and all thousands of loyalists have been following Feng Yusheng over the years, shall fight for China free of imperialists and warlords. Fantastic. Oh, our little thing did disappear. Fantastic. So we didn't need to fight the rent or whatever the actual decision was called. I'm happy with that. Again, we still don't foreign interest in Taiwan. And this is for Beijing, huh? I guess we'll get their influence by 10% and then lower their influence by 10%. Following that up, we will go for partial mobile. I mean, is this actually even good for us? Because, I mean, we only have 5 factories. You know what? Give me limited conscription. Our manpower is surprisingly low. We're not building support equipment. I mean, I'll throw it in here, but I don't see it being built anytime soon. Like, we are building 1 factory, and it'll be done in 38 April. So we still got like 6 months left on that one. Still quite a while to go. Okay, the Chile-Argentinian War. And now the right KMT. So there's actually now 5 competing governments. We got the right KMT, the left KMT, the Federalists, the Qing, and the Fetians. Why don't we should just declare ourselves our own government as well? Oh, so it looks like Szechuan has backed the Federalist. Okay. So are you a puppet? You're an associated government. Which I think is like a type of puppet, but it's slightly different. I'm not too sure. And teaching a new generation. To say education in Shanxi is lacking would be quite an understatement. While few would doubt that Shanxi's government has made considerable strides in the first decade or so of Yan's rule, reducing literacy, wars, and disruption has sapped away at funding necessary to keep up the momentum that Shanxi's previous push for education had created. At the primary level, many students refuse to attend classes, despite the mandate for all students to attend 4 years of schooling, staying home to help on farms or learning a trade. Many schools are underfunded and harshly built, contributing to a negative perception of these schoolhouses. The middle schools are scarcely better, and ever since Dao Daiyuan's harsh and draconian rulist principle of the People's Normal School spawned a mass student uprising, the government has lived in terror and future unrest. The government has since lost control over these schools, and students regularly cheat on an exam and intimidate teachers that don't give easy scores or are seen as too foreign. Student Association, once established to protect Yuan's authoritarianism and also Western imperialism in 1925, has grown corrupt and directionless over the years, standing for little except halting changes to the status quo. Higher education is no different. Shanxi University is effectively a vast government funding resort. Professors gamble their meager wages with their students, and teachers are so incompetent that the mechanical engineering professors was useless when the university power plant went out. Foreign professors and those trained in the West, Beijing, and Japan all regularly fight, while corruption soars. With all these numerous issues, it is clear that perfect is the enemy of good, and Shanxi is better off focusing its efforts with limited scope for now, and after deliberation, that will be pursuing universal education, because we've already ousted Yan, we can't take his decisions here. What do we want to go for first? Dealing with the students. Educate. You know what? Let's get the education reform. But with that now said and done, I think this is a really good time for us to end this episode. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. Not doing, tell you something down. You want to see more? Subscribe and goodbye.